The big man, Trent Brown, is back in New England. Trent Brown has been traded from the Las Vegas Raiders back to the New England Patriots. As a part of the New England Patriots, Trent Brown was a Super Bowl champion, only played there for 1 year, became a star, and ended up leaving to the Raiders, signing a massive contract to become their premier right tackle. One good Pro Bowl season. Another season riddled with injury and inconsistency, and he has found his way back to the Patriots, back home with the Patriots for the 2021 NFL season. In this video, I'm going to break down the Trent Brown trade that sent him back to the Patriots. Was it good for the Patriots? Was it good for the Raiders? And my feelings and my analysis on the move. Before I give you my thoughts on the Trent Brown trade that sent him back home, make sure that you do spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more NFL analysis just like this. And also comment your opinion below. What do you think of this move? Do you love it for the Patriots? Do you love it for the Raiders? Do you love it for both sides? Or do you hate it for one of these teams? Let me know in the comment section below, and let me know your thoughts overall on the big man, Trent Brown, back in New England. Trent Brown to the Patriots. This is a guy that at times, he certainly has the ability, the skill, and the capability to be an elite tackle in this league. Not just good, elite. That's what he was for the Patriots the 1 year there in New England, and he was just a season ago being named to the Pro Bowl. So this guy could play. And when he's motivated, he's arguably the best right tackle in the game. That is exactly, actually, what was reported from the Patriots camp. That they believe that when this guy is on, he is the best right tackle in the league. So obviously, this is a massive move. Obviously, this is a game changer, but we've already seen Trent Brown be traded a couple times in his career. And the reasons for that are because of his inconsistency, are because of his lack of energy, his lack of motivation. And he seems to be a guy that when he's not motivated and not in the right situation and is not having fun playing football, he seems to take his eye off the prize, and he seems to not be interested in playing for that team. Not to say that even when he plays, he was still pretty good, because he was last year when he played. The problem, he only played 5 games last year for the Las Vegas Raiders. And clearly by his Instagram posts, he doesn't seem to be very excited to play with the Raiders and very excited to be back in New England. So let's break down this move. Let's look at the details. And let's see what the Patriots did to get Trent Brown back. So Trent Brown and a 7th round pick in 2022 for a 5th round pick in 2022. This is a great trade just by the details here for the New England Patriots. They only give up a 5th round and they get a 7th in return next year, okay? For a guy that has been elite for them just 2 seasons ago, and it's not like he's old. Right? Trent Brown is turning 28 years old in April. That's about prime age for a tackle. They've figured out the NFL. They've figured out how to perform at a high level. They know what it takes. And that is the prime age for a tackle. Somewhere between 24 to 30 years old, in my opinion. So the Patriots are getting a guy, at least for 1 year, for only a 5th round pick. They will have to pay him about $11 million to get him on their roster. And the reason this is really interesting, the reason why New England made this move, I feel, is obviously because Joe Thuney's a free agent, David Andrews is a free agent. My intuition would tell me that David Andrews will be back as the center and one of the leaders of the Patriots in 2021. But it does feel, and it felt to me even like before this move, that Joe Thuney was going to be on his way out just because of the price tag that they would have to pay to retain him. The other thing that was a factor was, of course, the drafting of O'Menahue, who ended up being an absolute stud for them at guard and tackle last year as a very late round pick out of Michigan. So now what happens with him is he played right tackle, he played right guard. They're going to be able to move him around the line. They're going to be able to shift him inside, where I feel he doesn't go from just a good player, but to an elite player at that position, because he gets to utilize his unique size, his unique quickness and his run blocking power as a left guard now. So I think Omenihu will slide to left guard to take over for Joe Thuney. They will say goodbye to Joe Thuney, who's been their best offensive lineman for the past 3 seasons. And then they'll have Shaq Mason at right guard. They'll have David Andrews at center with re-signing him. Trent Brown will likely play right tackle. He might play left tackle, okay? And, of course, we have Isaiah Wynn, who will also be on the line. Marcus Cannon is also in New England. So Marcus Cannon, his contract's a little high right now. It's a little steep. It's like $10+ million. I believe it's about the same as Trent Brown's current contract. So you would look at Marcus Cannon as rather a guy they're going to have to restructure coming off of the COVID list because he did not play in 2020, or they're going to have to cut him and another team is going to pick him up, or they could trade him for maybe a late round pick for a tackle needy team because he is still a quality player. At least the last time we saw him, he's still a quality player. So I feel like Marcus Cannon would be valuable to a team that is looking for a tackle, especially a team in the championship window that feels that's a weakness to their club. So I could see Marcus Cannon getting traded and possibly restructured on his new team to fit that mold for a late round pick possibly. So Trent Brown is basically a swap for Joe Thuney. But to me, it's a upgrade because you're getting Trent Brown, the tackle, who would be an upgrade over Omenihu or Cannon at that spot. And then you're able to move Wynn to right or left side and put him where he's most comfortable. And you're also able to put Omenihu where he's most comfortable inside. So to me, this actually collectively makes the line a lot better when you consider that Trent Brown was an elite player for New England back when they won the Super Bowl. And the thing that Trent Brown offers is something that I think is unique to the Patriots and is unique to their style and brand of football currently constituted in 2021. He is a power player. He's huge. He's humongous. He also has very deceptive quickness and speed downhill. He is an absolute bully in the open field. So what he'll bring to this team is an edge, grit, toughness, and also physicality that I think fits right in with the rest of the offensive line. When you look at it, Joe Thuney was like their most finesse guard or their most finesse offensive lineman in general. When you look at the rest of the offensive line, Omenihu's a mauler, Trent Brown's a mauler, Shaq Mason is a mauler, and David Andrews is a pretty gritty player, along with Isaiah Wynn. So this is a line that's built like the 1990s, right? This is a power, grit, in-your-face, edgy, beat you down, maul you into the ground type of offensive line. And I'm extremely excited to watch it and witness it. I think the power running game of New England is going to be better this year than it was last year, than it was the year before. I think the power ground game of the Patriots could be their biggest strength heading into this year with this offensive line. And you couple that with the athleticism of Trent Brown to be able to move out in screen game and things like that. The guy is absolutely awesome when he plays, okay? So the main problem here, the main risk here for the Patriots is obviously there's a risk because he wouldn't be traded for a 5th round pick if there was no risk. It's getting him to play, to participate, to be active, and to not be injury prone, right? And that's what they saw from him in 2018, and they're banking on that once again. This is a guy that loves the Patriots. I mean, he was posting pictures of Dante Scarnecchia, loves that guy, although I believe Dante Scarnecchia is retired. I don't think he's coming back. Bill Belichick, he loves this organization. He loves the fan base, quite obviously, and he wants to be here. So that, to me, is the biggest positive if you're a Patriots fan. This is a guy that, when motivated, again, there's a lot of players like this. He's uniquely talented, and we've heard people say, like Kyle Shanahan said in the past, this guy might be the best pass blocking tackle in the league, like at right tackle. But they traded him because they felt he was too inconsistent. They felt he was too on and off, and they couldn't get the best out of him. But when he was in New England, they got the best out of him. And they'll have to find that formula once again. Again, he's only 28 years old. He's going to be making $11 million. He actually took a pay cut to play for the Patriots, which is fascinating enough, and does also tell you that he's probably going to be interested in staying here long-term if he can, and maybe taking a pay cut to do that well into his 30s. So this is an offensive line across the board that is built, and they've checked that box, right? They understand that Joe Thuney is probably going to be gone, And so Patriots fans, don't expect to re-sign Joe Thuney. That's probably not going to happen. Just logically and financially, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. Let's take a look at Trent Brown's performance from a year ago, where he just played about shy of 300 snaps, about 290 snaps. Let's take a look at his grade. So obviously, in terms of pressures and sacks, he was great there. As a pass blocker, 73 grade. He has always been primarily known for his pass blocking, and just because he's so big, he's so long, he's so hard to get around because he's so big, and he's just a ginormous human being. He just physically manhandles people. In the run game, he has not been as good with the Raiders, although the Raiders have been more of that power run game, and I think that's why they wanted Trent Brown, because of that unique skill set he offered New England, where he was not only a shutdown tackle as a pass blocker, but also a unique size mover in the open field as a run blocker. And I think New England unlocked him in a way that we haven't seen him previously unlocked on other teams. The other thing with Trent Brown, okay, he played 11 games in 2019 at 26 years old. He ended up getting named to the Pro Bowl. He only played 11 games that year. 2025 games. So he's only actually played one full season with the Raiders. That's part of the reason they moved on from him. 2017 with the 49ers, he only played 10 games, right? With the 49ers, he played in 2016, 16 games, and in New England, he played 16 games in 2018. So in 3 of his years that he's been a full-time starter, he has not played all 16 games. In 2 of his 5 years as a primary starter, he has played all 16 games. This might be part of the reason, or at least an argument you could make if you're the Patriots, to try to keep Marcus Cannon on a short-term, low-budget contract, because if Trent Brown does miss time, which is likely based on his previous history, then Marcus Cannon is a very capable starter that you can slide in there. Or possibly, potentially, what they'll do is have Omenihu slide to right tackle and find a good replacement on the inside for him whenever this does happen, because it's likely that Trent Brown is not going to play 16 games. He'll probably play somewhere around 12 to 14 games, and you'll have to figure out who the starter will be during that time that Trent Brown is not there. But what New England is banking on is when he is there, and if he is there, he's going to be one of the best players at his position, period, end of story. So this to me is a phenomenal new move for the New England Patriots. As a Patriots fan, I am pumped. I love Trent Brown. I love the player. I love what he offers the Patriots. And I would also like to see them bring back Cam Newton even more now, because I think Cam Newton with Trent Brown blocking for him and this power style of offensive line would perfectly suit what Cam Newton offers as a runner and also to this offense. I just think that would be the perfect complement as the quarterback that's currently available out there to possibly get. I would also look to see if New England looks for a running type mobile quarterback in the draft potentially to put behind this offensive line. But I am telling you that Harris, Michelle, and whichever running backs are running behind this line are going to have a big season because they're going to maul people. Now for the Raiders, there's not a lot to be said here other than what I've already previously mentioned, right? The Raiders wanted to get rid of him because they felt he was inconsistent. They felt he was too much money for what he gave them because of the inconsistencies, right? This was millions of dollars, like $11 million this year that they weren't willing to spend on a guy that only played 5 games a year ago. For the Raiders, I like this move as well, although I wish they got more compensation. I think this does prove that Mike Mayock, John Gruden haven't been the most successful with their free agency pickups. They've actually been quite bad. They actually have been quite bad all around with their free agency and draft. I think John Gruden has done a good job coaching the team, but I think from a roster construction standpoint, they have struggled to build this roster. They've struggled to build a complete team, and I do believe that this is another reason why, like right here. This is just clear evidence of how that's gone down so far for them. They've kind of whiffed on some of their draft picks and some of their free agency signings. They just released LaMarcus Joyner. They traded Trent Brown. So a lot of them are not going their way. Now they're trying to start fresh once again. They're trying to get rid of some cap so that they can rebuild this team where they need to rebuild it, specifically on defense. So I would look for the Raiders to spend a lot of this money on their defensive line, in their secondary, and getting this team to a level on defense that can complement what they're doing offensively with Derek Carr, Darren Waller, and company. So I like the move for the Raiders because of the cap room it affords them, but you gotta look that the Raiders probably won't have that patented offensive line, that awesome offensive line they've had for like the past couple of years. So the Raiders, just look out for maybe a slight decrease in the productivity of the offensive line, but probably a better defense because of it, because they're very likely to heavily pursue a lot of these defensive free agents. And I think that's a win overall for the Raiders. So I think it's a win for both teams. I think this move made a lot of sense for both teams. And I think the Patriots ultimately capitalized on a situation that they saw as an opportunity to bring back a player that they absolutely adore. So Trent Brown back to New England. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button and subscribe to the channel for more BLV. Peace.